Biden's debate fallout is now impacting Trump's decision on who he'll pick as a running mate. This is we are learning new details from the Bulwark's Mark Caputo on who Trump is zeroing in on and when that announcement is going to come. I mean, obviously, time is of the essence here because the Republican National Convention starts a week from today, and there are rules around this. You got to announce it. And Mark Caputo joins me now. So, Mark, what is the latest that you're hearing on, whether he's already made a decision or what it's down to at this point for him?
Well, you never know when Trump has made a decision until Trump says he's made a decision. Now, he says he has, but he hasn't made the announcement, so who knows? But it still looks like the top three frontrunners from the buzz of those who've spoken to him and spoken to top campaign aides, allies, and confidants. That is, J.D. Vance looks like he's sort of in the catbird seat along with Doug Burgum, and Rubio looks like he's sort of in third place. But this is all sort of speculation about what Trump will do or say, and it's very risky predicting that until he does or says it.
Yeah, no, I was talking to Marco Rubio the other day, and you can't have two people from Florida on the same ticket. You'd have to move residency. He sort of dodged that question, but there are some logistical challenges to that pick. When can we expect to find out?
Probably as late as possible. He has until Monday to do it under Republican National Convention rules. So don't be surprised if he announces it on Monday on Truth Social. On Saturday, Donald Trump has a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. That looks like a good time, according to those who sort of know his rhythms and his thinking. Now, tomorrow in Doral, in the Miami area, where Rubio lives and where Trump has a golf course and club, he's going to have a rally as well. And there's some speculation like, will he announce Rubio? Some people are saying, well, probably not. He probably wouldn't want to do it this early. And the reason why is Joe Biden and Democrats are sort of in a death spiral right now, at least from a press perspective. That is, they're sort of killing each other. Joe Biden keeps saying, look, I'm staying in the race, I'm staying in the race. And then all of these different Democrats are coming out saying, well, he shouldn't stay in the race. They're whispering that he should resign. Donald Trump doesn't want to get in the middle of that. Like, if his enemy, his opponent, is making a mistake or lighting himself or themselves on fire, he's happy to stand back right now and watch them go up in flames.
Right, which is, look, it's a level of self-control that is notable for him. I remember on debate night afterwards, we thought he would come out to the spin room. And when it seemed that obviously the debate had obviously gone significantly better for him, that he would do that, but he didn't because he wanted to let it sit. So right. A reticence, that is not necessarily in character. But what we do know is in character is that looks matter and optics matter. And you actually have reporting, Mark, on how looks are playing into the VP choice, specifically with J.D. Vance and Governor Burgum.
Right. Of all things that Donald Trump doesn't really like, it's facial hair. If you'll notice, most of the guys around him are clean shaven, and there's some buzz in Trump's orbit like, look, if J.D. Vance doesn't get it, it's because of the beard. Now, that puts J.D. Vance in kind of a box because he is the youngest of the crew who is on the VP shortlist for Trump. And if elected, if chosen, if elected, Vance would be the third youngest VP ever in U.S. history to serve. That is, he would be 40. I think number 2 was Nixon, who was 40 years and 11 days old. Vance will be a little older. He turns 40 next month. So that's an issue for Vance. But in the end, people are just saying, look, Trump's got his quirks and he's going to pick who he picks. But again, the buzz right now is Vance and Burgum look like his two favorites. But once again, we just don't know with Donald Trump.
All right. Well, Mark Caputo, thank you very much. Always great to see you.
Thank you.
And also tonight, Trump praising the RNC's new party platform. What he doesn't say is that he wrote some of that new platform himself, and it cements his grip on the party. And, there's often a discussion about these things. It's a committee, but not in this case. He's doing a lot of it. And what he has done is softened language on issues like abortion and same-sex marriage. This is hugely significant. And Kristen Holmes is out front. Kristen, this, you're reporting here, the platform reads like a Trump rally speech, but it's not like anything we've seen before from the Republican Party, from what you understand.
That's right, Erin. This is much shorter. It's much more vague. We're talking about decades of precedent when you look at these kind of platforms that give out a very detailed page by page, line by line of what the Republican Party stands for. And that's just not what this is. And you noted that it sounds a little bit like a Trump rally. Well, it should, because as you said, Donald Trump wrote part of it. He also edited it very diligently, spent a lot of time with it before he approved it, and it mimics who he is as a candidate and as a person. Part of it, again, focusing on things that he tends to focus on, mass deportations, as well as immigration. He talks about stopping the weaponization of the government. Then the softening of the language, because we know Donald Trump believes that certain things that the Republicans have campaigned on before, like abortion, like same-sex marriage, are not things that are widely popular, or at least not politically sound for them to be running on. He thinks that they're not things that are of the current mind, and that they're things that they shouldn't really be focused on. So one of the things they really did is they watered down this abortion stance. It's very short. It focuses instead on, yes, everything Donald Trump has said since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, that this should be in the state's hands. No mention of a national abortion ban, which Donald Trump said he would not pass if he was elected to a second term. The other part of this is that same-sex marriage. Traditional marriage used to be defined in the GOP platform as between a man and woman. That's no longer in the platform. The other one on there is this, instead of this emphasis that they've had for years, the Republican Party, on repaying the national debt and not accruing more debt, kind of really minimize that and instead are focusing on inflation. Again, all of this is how Donald Trump portrays himself in these various rallies. It's what it's on his campaign website. But now it is the official stance of the Republican Party, which really goes to show you how much, as you said, he has cemented his grip over this party.
Amazing. When you talk about debt reduction and fiscal responsibility, those used to be the calling cards for the Republican Party, among many things in that platform that you're talking about. That is incredible to remove that. All right, thank you very much, Kristen Holmes, with that reporting.
Is the infighting at the top of the Democratic ticket impacting choices that are being made on the Republican side? During an interview on Fox News Monday night, Donald Trump hinted that he was close to making a choice for his running mate ahead of the Republican convention, but that he wants to see how things play out with his opponent first.
And I haven't made final decision, but I have some ideas as to where we're going. And a little bit, we wanted to see what they're doing, to be honest, because, it might make a difference. I don't know. I'm not sure that it would. But there are those that say Trump's waiting until he finds out what's going to happen with crooked Joe Biden. And we'll see what happens with Biden. But, I think probably within the next week and a half.
And of course, there are a handful of VP hopefuls vying for Trump's favor. One of them, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who's scheduled to appear at a rally with Trump at his golf club near Miami tonight. In a recent appearance on CNN's State of the Union, Rubio supported efforts to change the party platform in favor of Trump's positions.
Do you support changing the official party platform to Trump's position that it should be a state issue?
Well, I think our platform has to reflect our nominee. And our nominee's position actually happens to be one grounded in reality. The reality of it is the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, and what that basically means is that now it's not states, it's voters at individual states who will get to decide how and to what level they want to restrict abortion, if at all. Some states will have restrictions, some states will not.
All right, and of course they're talking about abortion there, as Rubio noted. Jonah Goldberg, the Trump sort of it all is very, obviously he's holding off because he's been letting Democrats kind of eat their own in the wake of the debate performance, but he also is very uncomfortable out of the spotlight, and now we're starting to hear these conversations about how he's trying to grab it back. How, if at all, do you think what's going on with Biden has affected Trump's decision on VP or other kind of major ways they're looking at the race?
Yeah, I do think it's important to remember that he's also dragging out the VP selection process because there's more self-humiliation he can impose on the potential VPs, right? He wants to see them beclown themselves even more. That said, look, I think they think it's not dumb to wait and see how the Biden situation plays out. The more convinced, I think the more convinced Trump is that he's going to win, the more likely he picks Vance. The more he thinks it's going to be a real race, it's either Burgum or Rubio or person X. I still think a total surprise, not on the short list that everyone keeps talking about, is still possible. I don't know exactly who that would be, but Trump thinks about this like a reality show. What's the big reveal? Like who's going to be holding the rose, kind of thing.
Right. Well, and I think none of us should actually report what the VP is. So it comes out of Donald Trump's mouth because God knows it could change at any moment.